Hey everyone, it's episode 27 of Two Noobs Talking, and with my buddy John Tracy, of course. I'm Matt Craig. So happy to have you with us. John, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Nothing much. Already hit Ron Hextall numbers.
It's amazing. Just keep going,
I'm
going, and
going to use
going,
that same line when we hit 72 when he got traded to the
man.
Islanders.
I know that was kind of weird, right? I mean, of all things to take number 72, that is strange.
As a goaltender, it messed up my childhood.
Exactly. Well, also the fisherman, the Gordon's fisherman jerseys
Oh,
also
yeah.
were kind of,
Great
oh my
jersey.
gosh, if you're an Islanders fan, bleh. Anyway,
I got to find one of them.
but my goodness, John, what a show once again, right? I mean, we've got this,
Yeah.
it's amazing. We've got everything from COVID to the Fab Five to a James Coates update to a really nice segment at the end, which we alluded to last week. We didn't get a chance to talk about it, but we'll talk about it at the end with a
Yeah,
great happy
absolutely.
segment. But
Absolutely.
let's just dive right in
Oh,
to this
absolutely.
ongoing pandemic. Oh my God, are we ever going to get out? Well, we've been out of the pandemic for a long time. I'm just throwing that out there. We just
Yeah.
have to get back to normal. And I think that's what you're starting to see with a lot of people. Um,
Agree.
uh,
Agree. Totally. Especially like here in Texas. It's
yeah,
it's definitely getting back to normal. Less masks, more people. It's slowly less fear, which is good. So let's just hit with this screenshot that we have.
yeah. This came from an NPR article that John and I
Mhm.
had found. UK coronavirus strain does not lead to more severe illness and death, study finds. You remember, of course, that this was, I guess, during if I remember correctly, the winter and into the well, definitely during the winter time,
Yes, yes.
December, January, February, they found this more virulent strain. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that word wrong, but it's a more aggressive strain of the
Yes.
coronavirus, more contagious. And so they were feeling like, oh my God, if it's more contagious, then we could be even more under. Well, they found there's
Yeah,
a
they did.
study. The Lancet Infectious Diseases has a study in which they found that the variant was more contagious than what was the original coronavirus, but it's
Mhm.
not as severe in terms of its illness and does not cause more death. John, your
Which
thoughts
which
on this?
oh, which is great. It's
Oh,
absolutely great.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Real quick, the study will be in the show notes, um, on its own along with this one. So if you want to check the actual study out, we were able to find it. Um, it's pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it keeps us from pausing. It's not the goalposts aren't moving because they're now studying. This is the long-term study that we've been talking about all year. The long-term studies are coming out now. They're starting to see things. It's not as scary because scientists are working their butt off
Oh,
to
yeah.
figure it out.
Can you
And
imagine being
now we're
in?
seeing it. We're seeing it come out. It's yes, is it more contagious? Okay, so you are going to get sick. Okay, so more people are going to get sick, but less people are going to die.
I,
That's the point of long-term studies. This is why I was complaining for an entire year. Like, wait and see. Protect yourself, but wait
yeah.
and see because we're
See,
going to know what it is.
exactly.
Scientists will figure it out. Now
It
they
is.
are.
And they are. I was just going to say, can you imagine being an epidemiologist right now trying to figure all of this stuff out? You must be going crazy.
Love it.
Probably not getting a whole heck of a lot of sleep, but at the same
No,
time, you're finding more about the virus. You're finding about, okay, what kills it, what doesn't kill it, all that kind
but
of
they live
stuff.
for this. They
Yeah.
live for this.
Yeah. And
Tons
again, we're
of
not
tons.
trying to say, oh my God, they're waiting for this to happen as if this is like,
No,
oh
they
my
just
God,
live
this
for
is
this.
great.
They live for this moment.
Yeah.
Like there's a ton of doctors out there, and scientists out there that live for this moment to
Yeah.
give us peace of mind, and they're giving us peace of mind, which
Yeah.
is great.
Yeah. It's really, really encouraging.
I
And
was
the
so
fact,
happy when you sent this article.
oh yeah.
I
Oh
was
my
like, "Oh,
gosh.
that's
Yeah.
great! Like, this is what I've been waiting for. I've
Because
been
the
waiting for the
media,
long-term
well, what
studies."
was the media? The media, all of a sudden, there was this variant, and oh my God,
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
the original vaccines when they came out, they didn't include this variant. And, oh my God. And the fear porn just went
yes.
bananas over this.
No, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. It's
And
the same
yet,
thing. We already learned this. We're already, 100% on this, and people from Philly will understand this. The Philly sports media
Yeah.
used to do this all the time.
All the time.
Ryan Howard would strike out in the third inning when he could have hit a home run. They'd be like, he sucks because he struck out in the third inning and they could be up 4-3 right now. That's the media.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's that's what the media is doing now.
Yeah.
Like that's all they want to do. Oh, there's an extra one. You could get sick. You could die. They even said it with that Project Veritas thing. The dude was like, we figured out the ratings.
Yeah.
The more people would watch CNN if we put the death toll and the infection toll on the side. That's why CNN ran with that. It wasn't because it was an infectious disease. They were trying to get ratings. They were running it on the side of every program. Literally just said by one of the producers, they realized they would get more ratings than Fox if they just put that up there.
So there are two things that really came to my mind once you said that, John. One was, like, you had Bill Maher, and he was complaining about this on a show. We don't have the actual clip from his show. We're not big fans of him on this podcast, but he started to make like a lot of sense of like, this is kind of like skewing more negative than positive. He's saying like in terms of media coverage here in the United States, the overall coverage of coronavirus is far more negative than the rest of the world. The world is basically 50-50 in terms of its coverage. Yes, it's bad, but look at all the things that they're finding. Meanwhile, the United States is 90% bad, or maybe more, maybe a little slight 10%.
We're gonna learn a couple things about the difference between the world and the United States throughout this episode.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's talk about going outside.
Let's do it. A year into the pandemic, this was interesting. Washington Post article.
Yes.
This is probably the 10%, John, that's positive on this. Probably unintentional by the Washington Post.
By the way, both articles are left, just so you know, like written by very left.
Yeah.
Left. And we're middle.
But we're calling way over on the left-hand side.
For articles, but yeah, this is definitely left.
Yeah, exactly. Washington Post, a year into the pandemic, it's even more clear than it's safer to be outside, end quote. And then, of course, what a difference a year makes. Well, we could have told you that 6 months prior to that.
But, I mean...
The beaches were even more busier, but officials said there were no talks of closures. There's also far less outcry, and with good reason. According to many scientists and public health experts who say that the outdoor spaces now warming under spring sun should be viewed as havens in the battle against a stubborn virus and restriction-induced fatigue. Can you believe this BS out of the Washington Post? It's like...
Beautiful.
But I think the American people figured this out during the summer months last year when it was starting to be on the downward slope, and it was like, what are we doing? Yeah, okay,
we could have got herd immunity then, but no. Well, but it's okay. At least they're doing...
It's okay. Don't worry about it.
You don't need to worry about that. The fact that we could have already done this. But no, it's good that they're getting the word out now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't matter what the political reason behind it is, or it doesn't matter. It matters that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. We're seeing far more better articles and better TV production, and as to everybody should get back to normal.
To normal. Yeah.
It's the fear mongering. I mean, there's only one that is actually still fear mongering at this point. And we all know who he is, and he's being trashed by everybody.
Yeah. He was especially trashed on Friday by Jim Jordan of U.S. House of Representatives, who basically was essentially demanding answers out of Dr. Quack. And to be perfectly honest, Dr. Quack basically said, well, I don't know when we're going to go back to normal. Which to me, John, is like, if you don't know, I mean, you and I both work in different businesses, but if we both know that...
We both meet deadlines.
We meet deadlines,
and
right?
And the last thing that our bosses would want to hear is, I don't know.
Well, I don't know why this happened.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I'm going to complete it or not.
I don't know.
Like, yeah, well, why are you looking at me? They would immediately
nor would we if
salaries and move on.
Exactly. And nor would we, like, if we have a team underneath us, we don't want someone coming to us and, if it's like, well, this is a problem, and it's like, okay, do you have a solution?
I do it all the time. I do it all the time on site. Like, I don't know. You figure it out.
You figure it out. You know, it's like
I'm getting paid. I don't care.
we're
Yeah,
not here
I'm
to
having a
hold
bad
your
time.
hand, that kind of deal.
Yeah,
So we're just going to play this clip by Dinesh D'Souza, who, we both, I mean, this guy was
I
on
love him.
fire this week.
Yeah, I love him. Check out
And
his podcast. If you like long-winded podcasts, check out his podcast. It's awesome.
but this clip was fantastic, talking about Dr. Quack. In case for those who don't know, who are catching up to us late, it's my nickname. Dr. Quack is for Dr. Anthony Fauci, who's the National Institute of the Health head.
Yes. And I don't
Who,
even speak his name because he's beneath me.
well, he's a quack, more than anything else. But here we go. So let's play this clip.
Dr. Anthony Fauci has a message for Trump. He wants Trump to actively solicit that Trumpsters, the Trump supporters, go out and get their vaccines. Here's Fauci talking about it. Listen.
I hope he does, because the numbers that you gave are so disturbing, how such a large proportion of a certain group of people would not want to get vaccinated merely because of political consideration. It makes absolutely no sense. And I've been saying that for so long. We've got to dissociate political persuasion from what's common sense, no-brainer public health things. The history of vaccinology has rescued us from smallpox, from polio, from measles, from all of the other diseases. What is the problem here?
So this clip is from Meet the Press, an interview with Fauci. And Fauci asks, what is the problem here? And I have an answer for you, Dr. Fauci. The problem here is you. Trump is not a medical guy. You are. And so if people are reluctant to get vaccinated, you have to ask, why don't they trust me? What has the little ogre done that has caused people to go, you know what? I smell a rat. And I smell a rat. Why? It's partly because of the fact that when you look closely at what you've been saying, what Fauci has been saying, there have been radical inconsistencies. There have been propositions advanced as scientific that are not scientific. And there have also been, I think, a political agenda that you, Dr. Fauci, introduced.
Yeah.
Yeah. You smell a rat?
I love that quote. But for me, John, the arrogance again of this quack who basically said, well, why is there so much political? I got news for you, Dr. Quack. You made this political right at the start of this pandemic when you basically said you do not need to wear a mask before you then reversed your decision and said that you did. You do have to wear a mask. Now, why do I say that? Well, in many Eastern cultures, they do wear medical masks during the high times. And for you to basically say, you don't need to wear this mask, there's no reason to wear a mask, you were unwilling to give up your Western culture on this. You brought a political point to this right from the start. And so when you flipped and went the other direction, so long integrity, right, Sean? So long, you can't be taken serious anymore.
Yeah, you can't. This is anything. This is any. We can even break it down into the sports thing.
Yep.
Nobody trusts Ruben Amaro when he said one thing and did the other. Anybody in Dallas doesn't trust Jerry Jones with the football team anymore because of what he did. He's the same as all people out making decisions. If we cut our intro and we changed both of our sets and we decided we were going to talk music all the time, the 7 people that listen to us be like, well, this isn't what I signed up for. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of the point. Like you can't just change like that over and over again. He told you could go outside, but then he told you had to come back inside.
Yeah.
It's the meme I sent to you the other day with Will Smith talking about he's the last man on the planet. And Fauci saying you still need to wear a mask. Would do that. Like that's a Fauci thing.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's where you have the argument of like, vaccinations versus anti-vaccinations has been going on for decades.
Yes.
In this country.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. Has vaccinations been proven to be, terrific? Yes. In terms of polio, vaccinations eradicated polio. But to say that here's the thing, to say that you're going to be free after, because we've had I think it was Dr. Wynn or somebody like that on CNN just this last week saying the ticket to freedom is your vaccination. Sorry, wrong.
Not interested.
Wrong. It's not your decision of someone's political, and that's where you have like a Bill Maher saying at that same video, from like, I think it was a couple days ago, basically saying, I don't want my medical decisions to be politicized.
There's no need there. It's unethical. It's really unethical. And it's just the fact that Jim Jordan's going after him and Rand Paul, even though Rand Paul's crazy. Rand Paul's like the other side of Bill Maher, which is funny. Both of them hate him. That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Crazy.
Yeah.
You get two sides of the spectrum that are like, this dude's an idiot.
Yeah.
This dude's an idiot. I mean, at this point, like, it's now showing me the far left and the far right don't trust him.
Yeah.
So why should anybody trust him?
Yeah. Well, and it's like I see sometimes these polls are like saying, well, some people really respect him, and I'm like, how? Where?
Yeah,
where did that respect come from? Like, where? Under what rock are they living under?
How does he make more money than the president? It still blows my mind. I have no idea.
Well, and that's the thing, and I think we could probably touch on this maybe on a later podcast, John. But like the idea of the representative republic versus the administrative government state. And so it's like, well, Fauci represents this governmental state, administrative state, where it's like, well, here's what I'm looking at these figures and facts and figures, and you can trust me, and I'm this, expert and all this other stuff. You can't possibly understand what's happening in the epidemiological world. And
that seems like old world stuff right there.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like that's the way that the world works anymore.
No. And it's like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, the guy has been vaccinated. And that's the one thing I think we have, like, that article, which I think you should definitely throw up there.
Oh, absolutely.
Critics are up on Fauci, even after he says to not indoors, even after getting vaccine. So this is what we're talking about. It's like, if you choose to get vaccinated, you still have to wear a mask. That doesn't make any scientific sense whatsoever.
And you still can't eat indoors.
Yeah.
So he still doesn't want you to, but yet I live in Texas and there's indoor eating and the caseloads are dropping by the thousands. I think we're at our lowest at this point than it's been since the beginning.
Since the start.
It's almost disappearing at this point.
Yeah, and he's baffled by that. He was admitted to being baffled by it. Well, there's got to be like this lag behind in 3 weeks, and it's like
he's baffled by his
lag. It's like, I don't understand it with this guy. He's difficult to follow.
He's a child.
Yeah, that's the reason why they said he's a quack.
He's also a criminal. Because if you think Bill Gates is a criminal, you could probably find 1,000 photos on the internet of him sitting real close to Bill Gates.
Mm-hmm.
So let's not get that twisted. The guy who thinks he's a doctor, hanging out with the guy that is a doctor. And vaccines are very high on Gates's list. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe there's a reason he owns $1 million homes.
Yeah.
And is only an epidemiologist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Homes.
Oh, he's not very good at what he does either.
Yeah, exactly.
And I maybe I shouldn't speak that out of turn because I don't know like his entire history, but the way that he talks, it's just
he talks like he doesn't know anything. That's about, and I'm sure he has a degree. And I'm not gonna crap on his degrees. I'm not gonna crap on his life's work, but it doesn't seem like when you look at him from the outside that he puts himself in nice company.
No. Well, here's the thing too, John.
I mean by that.
Here's the thing too. We've had, of course, my father on this podcast. When he was interviewing for the Adjutant General and had to go in front of the state Senate here in the state.
Yeah.
You want to talk about being prepared. The guy was fully prepared of what he was going to be asked about.
He was prepared to come on our Rinky Dink podcast.
What questions do you have for me? Was the first thing he asked me.
He actually taught
Okay,
us.
well, we're going to have like 8 or 9, and we put it together and threw it over to him, and we went through that list, and it's how he's done. When you look at a Fauci, when you look at him,
Yeah.
it is just, okay, I'll see here, and I'll see if I can throw this dart over here.
You can even put it to, if you look at a Donald Trump press conference as president, that's the one thing you can say is the dude was always prepared in the press conferences.
Oh, you can even say that about Kayleigh McEnany.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
You know?
Well, I think everybody, I mean, even Pence, I'm not a big Pence fan.
Yeah.
Pence was well prepared because it was expected of him.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, yeah.
that's what we expect. And this is going back even further with Barack Obama.
Yep.
Well prepared.
Yep. He may have been wrong, but he was well
But he was well
prepared.
prepared. I don't care if you're wrong. George Bush also well prepared.
Well prepared. Yeah.
Well prepared.
Yep.
You even go back to Reagan, well prepared.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like there's a thing that we expect in our people of power.
Oh, yeah.
Be prepared. This dude is not prepared.
Absolutely.
This dude would be like me talking about the coronavirus in front of 1 million people. I don't know what to do. I have no idea what to do.
Yeah.
I would never know what to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Go outside and drink orange juice. That would be my, like, I don't know what works. Someone tell me. Because that's literally what he's doing.
Yeah. Well, and the whole thing of like, I think what really has bothered me about the whole thing has been the lack of, getting exercise.
Yes.
Going outside, working.
Closing gyms makes no sense.
Yes.
None of that made sense. And that's what we talked about last week. And I'll say it again and we'll cut it again because people need to hear this. It's the corruption behind the coronavirus. It's not the coronavirus that makes us so mad.
Yeah.
It's the corruption behind it.
Mm-hmm.
You close small businesses because you don't know what to do.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
And now all the information is coming out.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That if we would have just used common sense, nobody would have lost their job.
Yeah.
Would have had to work from home.
Yep. Yep. And most importantly, people wouldn't have gotten scared over being sick. I think some wise person said this on this podcast. I'm not going to say who, but
no, but then got sick because you got scared, because the first thing, fear and anxiety lower your immune system a ton.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
I know. I was really scared when this first, like, I don't want 1 million people to die.
No.
I never want 1 million people to die.
Well, and I can remember even in the beginning part of this pandemic, going to like Wegmans was just like a supermarket here in King of Prussia, John. And it was like, I remember just going in there thinking like, oh, I might be short on something. And the cupboards were almost bare. Yeah. And that's scary. That's like,
when in the beginning, just to tell the story, when in the beginning, me and my wife, we were going shopping, and we were like, when you're talking like 1 million to 2 million deaths, that's what they were talking about in the beginning. Just so we're clear, like they were talking that a lot of people were going to die. Like they were talking like our parents were going to die. It wasn't going to stop at that. It was going to be, you know what I mean? Like, when we went outside, there was so much anxiety and so much, like, that's why I dug in and did so much research. Yeah. Now we're here, like, come on now.
We could get out of this and we'll be fine.
Easy. This is easy because let smart people do smart things.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Well, let's go ahead and move on from there. And let's talk a little about our big tech giant.
Oh, speaking of another guy that sucks.
Beaker. Mark Zuckerberg and his company, Facebook, there might be a little bit under investigation, John. Why don't you go ahead and take this?
Just a tiny bit. So Europe's leading privacy regulator is investigating whether Facebook broke laws in its handling of leaking over 533 million people's phone numbers and personal data.
Yikes.
Which Facebook does try to collect.
So
as
that's
they can.
That's the entire United States, probably most of Canada, and a little bit of Mexico. That's what I would guess.
Tiny bit. Yep. Yep. And then we move on to Ireland's Data Protection Commission, which I know a little bit about. They do good work. Just so people know, they have sued some people and won, which is good. So I trust them that they're doing what they're supposed to do in this. Thank God that they're stepping up. Yeah. Because they got clout behind them.
Yeah.
They're charging they're basically charging they're getting an investigation about the same thing, but it's more the privacy end in the European Union, as you can read on the screen if you're watching this. Sorry, I'm butchering it for people that are listening to it.
No, yeah. I mean, probably the most important thing there, too, in the sentence is that from the Business Insider article that we found, quote, if Facebook is found to have violated the EU's data rules, it could face a monetary fine of up to 4% of its, now get this, $86 billion global revenue, end quote. Doing the math, 4% of $86 billion is $3.44 billion fine.
But it's only of their revenue, so you got it. Their net worth is probably 3 times that, but it's definitely a punch in the face.
It hurts. Oh, and yeah.
One of my points to Matt when we were talking about this is if we can find a way as people to get rid of Section 230, which is because our government agency that handles what blah 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 blah, they don't do anything. They don't stop anything.
Yep.
I don't even know what is it, Federal Communications Board would probably be the one.
That probably would be, yeah.
Probably be the one but they're not doing anything.
No.
They're collecting paychecks because they're terrible. They can't even stop us.
Exactly.
Probably only 6 of them.
Yeah.
Sorry if I offended anybody that works for the but
chances are probably no one's working for the FCC. But
exactly. So yes. Okay. Well, they used to fine Howard Stern all the time, but yet they refuse to fine
Facebook.
Speaker for it's because of this thing called Section 230. We've talked about this a ton of times before. Nobody can touch them.
Yeah. Well,
Hopefully,
if this thing does happen, like if this investigation by Ireland Data Commission, if they're able to successfully sue and win,
it sets a precedent.
It's a gigantic precedent. Exactly. Yeah.
But the one thing is just for everybody to know, you can't do anything until Section 230's gone away.
Yeah.
So we're just saying they gave away 233 million phone numbers and personal data in other countries. What are they doing in the United States?
Yeah.
It's probably twice that, but the fact is 230 doesn't allow you to do anything. You can't do anything about it.
Jeez.
Since you logged into Facebook and put all all the pictures of your kids, all that, they can do whatever they want with it.
Yeah.
Because you can't sue them. Because that's what 230 is all about.
That's what 230 is. Yeah. Yeah.
That sucks because the federal government gave it to them.
Well, how much would that be? Like, if the fact that the game changer of that, just
they would if they lost 230, they could be bankrupt in a year.
Oh, easily.
And I'm putting that.
And we're not rooting for them to be out of business. Don't get me wrong.
I am rooting.
I know you are, but
because we could totally
my whole point on that, John, on this would be what a huge, like, if you don't have the data breach, everyone talks about like having, it's all throughout every company I've worked for. You got to secure your data. You got to make sure that it's this and 2-factor and all that kind of stuff. 2-factor authentication.
I think IHG just had the hotel company.
Just
had a data breach.
Yeah.
Which makes no sense because they're international. I don't know how that works, but
data breaches can happen at any organization at any.
Well, it happened to a couple huge companies.
Yeah.
Not to name names because I don't want to.
But I mean, if you have that, That's Section 230 saying that you cannot sue them, essentially, for any sort of data breach.
Crazy.
If that gets removed, they're lawsuits that, like, you have got to make sure, if you're Facebook, and I'm not saying this just out loud to help them out, but you've got to make sure that your data security policies are up to speed and up to date.
Well, and the fact that you're not censoring everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think that's what that's the funny part. I think that's what got Ireland and the EU involved in this whole thing, is because you're censoring people. Now we're going to start looking at your books.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You do dirty things. Like I say this
It's going to come back to bite you. Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
if you sleep with dogs, you get fleas. It's as simple as that. That's Beaker. You know what I mean? That's totally Beaker.
That's true.
Beaker tried to be a tough guy. He tried to run roughshod like that idiot that owns Twitter.
Yeah.
We do not condone Twitter.
No.
Twitter and Spotify sleep in the same bed. We don't condone either of them. Fuck them both.
Just keep saying it, John. I love it.
Not into it at all.
You know that Twitter, I think, banned Project Veritas?
Yeah, they did.
You know? And they also banned Jason Whitlock.
Oh, nice.
And Whitlock basically
for speaking the truth?
For speaking the truth about, BLM, and it was interesting because, he got reinstated about a day later. What's his first tweet right back? It's like, don't bow down to these people.
No, I will never bet.
Love it.
Dude.
Love it.
Jack,
it's like, oh, it was a mistake.
Dorsey, you are the most unkept human being ever.
Yeah.
Have you ever showered, Jack Dorsey? You're such a piece of trash. I saw you on Joe Rogan's podcast, and I can't believe Joe Rogan didn't kill you.
Is that beard going longer, or is that still the same?
I don't know. I don't even know. This is where I lost respect for Joe Rogan. Let's just have this conversation. I love Joe Rogan, by the way, but I really lost respect for him that he didn't snatch Dorsey over the table and just smacked him in the face for being such a pretentious piece of shit. Because that's exactly what he is. If he was sitting in this room while we were talking, I'd probably hit him because he's that much. I know I'm not on that level, but if I was on that level, I'd fuck that dude up because he's a fucking pretentious shit. You know what I mean? Like I understand that I'm not on his level. The dude's worth billions of dollars, but it doesn't give you the right to be a piece of shit human being.
Yeah, exactly.
Billions of dollars don't give you a right for anything.
Exactly. If anything, it just creates more problems than it solves. But yeah.
Yes, exactly. And that's the one thing I love Rogan. He does such great long podcasts, but I like Rogan. But why would he ever invite that piece? Him and Tim Pool. Why would you invite that piece of shit there?
Yeah.
Like that dude's, but maybe they didn't know because that was a while ago.
Yeah.
Maybe now they want to beat him up. Maybe they did, and they're not saying anything.
And they're not saying it. Yeah, who knows? You may have to tune to them next.
I would have rather watched that than anything else.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Top 5. Jumping right into topic 3, John. Why don't we do it?
Yeah, let's go for it. Oh, sorry, I left that one out. There we go. A little two noobs there.
Oh, wait a minute. I love this.
Yeah,
for our audio listeners. Love this. Breitbart.com quote, Gretchen Whitmer shrugs off advisors' spring break travel. Well, their personal time is their business. End quote.
And literally, we saw the video. We didn't want to play the video because we didn't want to be video heavy. That's the only reason we didn't play the video. She totally was like, nope, not answering that. You can go to the Breitbart article. It's right on the screen. It's before the actual article of what we pulled off.
Rules for me, but not for thee. Gotta love it, John. Just add it to the list of more people that just don't treat the coronavirus deadly or.
She's no Cuomo, but she's close.
Yeah, the level of corruption doesn't fall far from the tree.
Yeah, exactly. And like we said, you could see it on the screen. She shoved off a question about at least 2 of her senior advisors.
Yeah.
Which I don't. Okay, Matt, what's a senior advisor for people that don't know?
Well, a senior advisor basically advises the governor of what to do if the governor has a decision to make.
Real close.
Mm-hmm.
You work real close.
Inner circle. Yeah.
Yeah, very inner circle.
Very inner circle.
Very
Shout out to Chris Jericho. Very inner circle. Yeah.
Very inner circle. They traveled out for spring break. despite her urging her residents not to go anywhere.
That must have been a lot of fun. I wish I went on spring break again. That would have been a lot of fun.
Yeah, but you're in
I'm in a blue state. Can't go anywhere.
you're in a blue state, which has a member of the Fab Five.
I guess so.
So guess what, Matt? You don't
rules
get to,
be
but
not for
I'm
thee.
pretty
Just got
sure
along.
that Gretchen's peoples, her senior advisors, her peoples,
Her peeps. Yeah.
they got to go. They
Yeah.
totally got to go.
Yeah. Nah, it's just, I mean, how
It's
many
the
times?
Fab Five all over again. Good news for you, just to make you smile.
Go for
I
it.
was reading before we came on air
Yeah.
that an impeachment committee for Cuomo
Oh, my
is meeting on Wednesday. So
Oh,
that's going to be
geez.
some good news. You can see that on episode 28 because I hope that moves fast.
That might be a lead story for next week. For
I
sure.
hope so.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
hope they, they get him.
It's just
Yeah, they're terrible. Again, another cut for the corruption thing. It's the corruption around Corona that makes us so mad.
yeah.
It's just the corrupt you book deals and
Yeah.
and
Killing
Emmys.
off grandma and grandpa in their nursing
Exactly,
homes.
killing off nursing home.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's terrible. It's what what drives us to keep reporting on this stuff. These people are evil.
Yeah.
I can't say it any better.
Total scoundrels, that's for sure.
Yeah,
They need
they're
to
evil.
be removed. Need to be removed. And because part of this, and I think this is a big part of why we're not just doing this because we're attacking them because they're Democrats or whatever the case may be. We're doing this because part of government's responsibility and the founding of the country is the number one thing the government has to do is they have to protect its citizenry from all enemies, foreign and domestic. People may think, well, that's just the president. No, it's for every state in the union.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the underlying argument that John and I are really bringing forth out in this podcast. What Cuomo and Whitmer and Newsom and Wolf and Murphy and et al. Are not
Lightfoot.
doing are protecting their people from a virus. They are instead putting COVID positive patients into nursing homes and killing people that do not have strong enough immune systems to combat this virus. That is an egregious offense. That is really, I think it ought to be like a criminal offense as well. I don't know what kind of degree that would be. I'm not steeped in law, but in that regard, yeah, that they are not acting in their best interest for their entire citizenry when they do something like this.
And just to bring up the other point is also a couple of them, Newsom, Cuomo, have had to go to the Supreme Court. Cuomo already losing about religious persecution.
Yep.
And just to throw up this screenshot.
This happened also with Gavin Newsom. Yeah, Supreme
Yeah,
Court.
this just happened to Gavin Newsom's little train. There's a couple articles in there. Hopefully, I'll be able to tag them and put them in the show notes before we get done.
This is a Forbes article.
Yes.
Quote, Supreme Court rules California must allow in-home religious gatherings, end quote. John, did you realize that basically that California was so locked down?
Well, yeah. Well, we know that from we know that from I can't remember his name. I'm sorry. Grace Lake Church.
Oh yeah, James Coates. Yeah, we'll touch him.
No, the other guy.
Oh, yeah, John MacArthur. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
apologize. I apologize, John MacArthur, for not knowing your name.
That's okay.
But I've been following that whole thing of understanding of what was going on in California, and this really popped up. Is that finally New York? I don't believe it's happening in Pennsylvania. Correct?
Not to my knowledge. No, there hasn't been a church that has stood up.
No, I mean the government
in front of the governor. Say again.
Did the government say you could or couldn't?
Yeah, the government has said that you can, but obviously with restriction. But no one has none that I know of in terms of a church that have said, hey, look, listen, we don't agree with this 10% nonsense. I think most of it now has been, Wolf's been kind of sleeping at the wheel, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure. I know down here in where I am, I'm in a smaller town. What they just did is, and there was no government. Abbott didn't say anything about religious, you're restricting any religion. He just always caution, 6 feet, that kind of thing.
Yep.
And what most churches around me, I'm actually surrounded by a ton of churches. And what I saw them all doing was something amazing. They were just setting out chairs outside because it's always nice in Texas. That's the one thing. Like,
Yeah.
very rarely bad weather. So, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's the one fun thing about living in Texas and
Yeah.
being able to deal with situations like this is
You
because
could go outside
you
and
just take it outside. You know what I mean? Like, indoors doesn't mean as much to us,
yeah.
as it does to other places.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Which that's actually what messes me up about California, because California is similar. Why
Yeah, you
couldn't
would
he
think
just?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and
Why
also
couldn't he, instead of saying no and holding people down and closing things down, why couldn't he just say, "Hey, do it outside"?
Yeah, exactly. That's looking after your citizenry if you're a governor.
Exactly.
I should also mention this too on that Forbes article. We didn't. We should make mention of this. It was a 5-4 decision.
Yes. Yes. Sorry, I didn't keep it up long enough.
John,
yeah.
it's a 5-4 decision.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. It's in the amendment, First Amendment of the Constitution, freedom of religion, right? Freedom of assembly, right?
Yes.
It should be 9-0 then if it's in the First Amendment.
Well, I mean, with John Roberts, it's going to be 8-1 at the best, because John Roberts will never vote anything that isn't criminal. I mean, let's just call him out for being who he is.
He sided with the liberal justices, and I'm thinking to myself, well, okay, like,
I'm a little upset.
Fine, but
I'm not surprised about the one.
These people are supposed to know the Constitution inside and out.
Yeah, that's
supposed to be independent. Know what the Constitution's all about, right? I mean, that's what it's supposed.
Yeah.
5-4.
There's some pretty good ones.
Oh yeah, there are 5 really good ones in there, but the other 4
and two that passed away were good. Good, not great, but they did their the Scalia and
Scalia was terrific.
Scalia and Ruth Bader Ginsburg,
RBG.
which I give her props. She did good stuff in her time. I'm not going to always agree with her, but she wasn't terrible.
No. Yeah.
Sometimes she was the 6 to the 5-4, but also sometimes she was the 1 to the 5, 5-4 or 5-4 the other way. Like, yes, did she
It's interesting interesting too that the Democrats are asking for Breyer to retire. That seems to be a big one, and he's like 82, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, he's no spring chicken up there as well. He's he's kind of getting old.
You're going to see more people. There's a few. Ted Cruz's name floats around that all the time.
It's amazing.
All the time. And you know what? I don't hate Ted Cruz. I don't think he's a president.
No.
At all.
No.
I don't think he should ever run for president.
But I do think if he's going to be a judge, be interesting.
I'd like to see him not be in the Senate anymore and actually
be in a lifetime appointment.
Yeah, and creating good for everybody. I would love to see that. I don't think he's not a politician.
Well, that's the thing. I think
he's a judge. I think if he was a judge at the local court or if he was a judge at the highest court, he'd be the most fair and honest.
Absolutely.
As a politician, I think he's long-winded. He's not very good. I love his podcast, by the way.
They pretty much are all long-winded.
Very short podcast he does, but it's good.
Yeah.
He speaks a lot about the Constitution, and he loves constitutional law, and that's why I listen to his podcast.
Yeah.
He loves constitutional law, and he talks about it all the time.
Yeah.
For about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
When asked one question, which that's what I kind of like about him.
Exactly. I mean, it just stuns the hell out of me, John, that it's 5-4, and it's like it's the most basic understanding of the Supreme, of the Constitution. It's so cut and dry.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, religious freedom,
and it's 5-4.
It doesn't it doesn't matter what religion you practice.
Yeah,
you should be allowed.
That should concern anybody with a religious bent.
Yeah, under any circumstances.
Yeah.
And we're not saying restrictions, because government restrictions can be put on if it's dangerous.
Yeah.
You can say, hey, you got to do say half capacity, or you have to figure out an alternative. They could say indoor, outdoor
Mm-hmm.
during, but when it then starts to come out that it's not what it is,
Yeah.
then you got to leave it up to the discretion.
Yeah.
Like we said, like 21 days, we were talking about the Pennsylvania thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What was it, 21 days instead of 90 days?
Exactly. In fact, they're going to try and bring that onto the May primary in Pennsylvania
Good,
as a
good.
ballot initiative.
That needs to be done. That
Yeah.
needs to be done because 21 days is fine.
Which for me, I would vote yes on that. 100% on that.
Absolutely. 21 days is all you need.
Yeah.
I don't care what the situation is. You need 3 weeks to make a
Yeah,
decision.
there's no reason to have a 90-day
No. Good.
emergency. There's no reason for that. It's 3 weeks.
There is literally no reason for that.
Yeah. I mean, if it's 90 days and all hell is breaking loose, it's like, I don't think 90 days is even going to work either. You know?
Exactly. Well, 90 days doesn't mean anything because then it's just going to go to the president anyway.
Yeah.
Because now everybody's in a state of emergency. If something's so terrible that it takes you 90 days to make a decision.
To figure it out? Yeah, that's a problem.
That totally means that the one dude's in charge.
Yeah, exactly.
And the one dude was never in charge. It was left up to the governors.
Yeah.
So that's what you got to look at.
And that's where you had the distrust form because it was like the legislature's like, well, what about this? What about this? We can have our restaurants open up with these measures in place. Nope. We got to flatten the curve. Well,
It didn't work.
it didn't work.
It
didn't work.
It put a lot of people out of business and it hurt a lot of people.
Yeah.
Is what it did.
So good on the 21 days. Absolutely. We need that here in Pennsylvania.
Good.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Good.
Topic 4, John.
Yeah, let's move on to this monstrosity piece here.
So we had the 5-4 decision with religious liberty in the United States winning in the state of California.
Mm-hmm.
Just to the north of us, our good neighbors who brought us hockey, thank God, in Canada.
Yes, thank you.
This is an article we found basically from protestia.com. It is tracking the situation that was happening in Grace Life Church. We'll link this to our show notes. I'm not going to read all of this verbatim, but basically, back up a little bit here. James Coates is pastor, Grace Life Church. He's basically under his religious conviction, scriptural authority as a pastor, basically meeting during this entire pandemic. And we've documented this well in this podcast.
He's been to jail.
He's been to jail. He was arrested, thrown in jail for 5 weeks. Came out next Sunday, right back into preaching, right back in
Good for him.
the pulpit. The following week, their Alberta Health Services, which is kind of like the NIH arm, I guess you could say, if NIH had like a state arm, I guess, or something along those lines. Alberta Health Services runs over there and chain link fenced around the entire church property so that nobody could get in. They not only encircled it once, I think they encircled it twice so that nobody could get in, basically.
Yes, from the videos I saw, absolutely, you're right.
That didn't stop the church, though. They still met. They met in an undisclosed location. This basically tracked what happened the first Sunday that this happened. Basically, they were supposed to meet their old church. Obviously, they didn't meet there. But there was a group of people that gathered around, and apparently it got a little rowdy, and somebody, some fences were taken down. The church made it a point that nobody from the church was there. It was basically just a bunch of people that were protesting just for the sake of protesting, or people that were, upset over the fact of Alberta's lockdown measures. And of course, we've documented here that, their survivability rate of COVID is at 99.996%.
And if we're called out on Facebook, it's 98.9% or whatever.
Yeah. It's still very high.
I just had to, that was a joke.
Yeah, exactly.
You're watching.
It's still very high. But John, I mean, we're talking about lockdowns, and here's this church boldly saying, we're going to meet. We're taking care of our people.
Yeah.
And it's because we're taking care of them because they need the care, they need the fellowship. They're tired of being locked down inside their own homes, all that kind of stuff. And they're doing yeoman's work, and their reward for it is they've now locked locked the church out, basically, that no one could get inside of the building. And it's striking to me that in a Western country that this happened. It's unprecedented. This happens in the Soviet Union in the 80s.
Yeah,
This happens in China. This happens in...
like Tuesday. It happens in China.
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Yeah. I mean, this is unbelievable. And, it's like, and of course, like, they're going to go to trial. And part of the trial is that James Coates is essentially like questioning the constitutionality of their lockdown measures, essentially. And the government's like, you don't even have to answer that question for the Alberta Health Services. Don't answer that question.
So dumb.
Yeah. I mean, that should concern everybody that, the lockdown measures are just like, there's no warrant to them anymore. There is no warrant to have a lockdown measure, I think, throughout this entire pandemic.
I don't think
they have to show me
I don't think
significant data that says if you go to this place with thousands of people, the chances of you getting COVID are this percentage, and all that kind of stuff. And they have to show me hard evidence. Like,
but it just goes to show the Texas Rangers.
Yes.
We're at full capacity, and the COVID numbers did not go up in Texas.
Super Bowl happened with 25,000 people in Tampa, and there wasn't a spike.
Yeah. Wouldn't you expect with 44,000 people together for the first time, wouldn't you expect the Dallas numbers to go through the roof?
And it
Or
didn't
the
happen.
Arlington numbers or wherever. It's in Arlington, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Logic would dictate, oh my God, we can't.
Wouldn't you expect the
this.
surrounding area?
Yeah.
But obviously that's not the case because the numbers are still going down.
Yeah. The logic would dictate, oh my God, we've got to make sure that this isn't going to happen. And yet it happened in Texas, and the caseloads, to your point, just went straight down. So yeah, it's like they're going to have to show me, like, and by them, I mean the governments are going to have to show me like hard conclusive evidence that these lockdown measures are A, working, and B, like if we're going to have like large gatherings of people, like the chances are really high.
Well, it's already happening in
I have not seen conclusive scientific evidence, because it's all about evidence. That's what science is. You're following evidence, you're making a conclusion. That's what science is all about.
There is none, and I think that's why the city of Philadelphia is already booking, allowing the First Union Center or whatever it's called now, Wells Fargo or whatever the heck it's called. Yeah, they're booking concerts already. So I think stuff's getting back to normal.
Yeah, it's just a shame that this is happening. I think it's like it's just a shame that it's happening to a church. It would happen to any religious organization, not just.
It could happen to anybody if it happens to a church, because government used to not play with churches. You know what I mean? As much as they didn't like them.
Yeah.
They didn't do this.
They would stay in their lane, and religion would stay in its lane, and sports would stay in its lane. And that's the thing. Politics is just intersected across all parts of it. It's crazy. And that's the insidious thing, and that needs to change big time. Big time.
And hopefully it is. I mean, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. Well, let's end on a positive note, shall we?
Yes, always. We try.
Let's dive right into this, because this was a great story that John had found.
Thank you for always giving me the credit.
Oh, yeah. Come on.
I'm a positive person. That's what Matt's trying to teach everybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so here is, we're just going to play it while we're talking here.
Yes.
But this was an Instagram post. This is Yanette Lopez walking through the halls of Perryville Elementary School in Oklahoma.
That is awesome.
Hey, USA, USA. I mean, it's just amazing. This woman was originally from Cuba, left Cuba, obviously, to go to the United States, became a citizen. And I love this quote.
It was her dream.
It was her dream. I know everything about the United States. I love this country, Lopez said.
So yeah, welcome aboard.
Absolutely.
Welcome aboard. That's awesome. Doing it the right way is the best way.
You can see the emotion on her face. She's just like
Yes.
overwhelmed by these kids, and they're like they're like probably anywhere between kindergarten to 5th grade, lining the halls.
Good job.
Love it.
Good work by everybody. Good job by the kids of understanding how important it was to her, and good job for her to, follow your dream.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
absolutely.
It's awesome. Much love. Much love.
Much love to her. Absolutely.
Welcome to be a citizen.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
here. They can't take that away from you now.
Can't take that away from you. And
Nope.
that is a memory she's
did
going
the-
to cherish for the rest of her life.
You did the work. You did the work, and that's what matters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can't take it away from you now.
Yeah. So that wraps up episode 27.
Yes,
Two Noobs Talking.
Little Ron Hextall action.
Little Ron Hextall action. Let's hit him with some shameless plugs, shall we?
Yes.
Where can people find us?
You can find us all over the place. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram, TikTok, and Clapper. We throw daily videos out on all those to drag you over to what Matt's about to say.
Yeah, drag us over to our YouTube channel where we really would love for you to like and share and subscribe to our channel. Liking and sharing our videos, of course, gets this word out faster. So feel free to share us with that. On the audio side, John.
We are all over the place. We are on Apple and iHeart and Spotify, even though it sucks. Google Podcast. You just have to search us at Two Noobs Talking 215512 Podcast, and we will pop up on any Google machine you got.
How about these show notes too? These show notes, which so handy, love them. TwoNoobsTalking.wordpress.com, and again, if you enter in your email address and hit the enter button, bam! Those show notes will drop right into your inbox the very next day. So, John, that again wraps up episode 27 of Two Noobs Talking. You got anything final to say, bud?
Hey, Matt, don't go down the rabbit hole.
Thanks again, John. Really appreciate that. Talk to you all next week. Take care.